Welcome back to Teacher Tech Cafe. I hope you enjoyed our last collaborative meeting, and I look forward to seeing you again. This week's tech tutorial features another great web tool to get students creating, collaborating, and sharing their learning. And of course, our objective again this week is to integrate technology tools into classroom instruction to engage our students in learning. We will learn to build an editable map in Google Maps, add points with photos and text, and share the map with our students. Your assignment before the next collaborative meeting is to collaborate and share classroom applications with each other, teach your students to use Google Maps, and to have students build a map to show mastery of content in your subject area. We always want to consider the TPAC model. I know it's a very simple idea, but we cannot forget that the technology, the tools we use, cannot create learning in and of themselves. We have to combine that tool with good pedagogy. We have to have strategies in place that we know works with kids. We also have to have strong content knowledge, the takeaway we want our students to be able to leave with. And so we combine our tool, our strategies, and our content to get our students learning. Today we're going Google with Google Maps. Google Maps, if you have not used them before, are great tools. They are collaborative. You can embed them into your website, into blogs. You can share links via email or in Google Classroom. You can use Google Maps for journaling, for story writing. Entire classes can work on one map. You can even create math or science walks where students move from point to answer questions or find out more about science topics. Students can build maps to share with others to show that they understand the content that they are learning. So we're all Google users. It's very easy to get to My Maps in Google Maps. If you've used Google Maps just to find places, this is a little bit different because we're going to be layering on top of a map that we have created. You can get to them by simply searching My Maps in Google. You can also use the apps launcher. So let's take a look at Google Maps. If you have never used Google Maps before, I did want to show you. You will look and see a screen that looks like this, and you will want to hit Create a New Map. Once you have created some maps in My Maps, you'll see them listed here. Today we want to create a new map, and you'll notice that Google opens up into a map of the United States. It's working off of my location, just a regular map. The first thing that I want to do is give it a title, so I click on Untitled Map, and let's imagine that I'm going to have my students work on Texas ecosystems. I want them to talk about the adaptations that organisms have to survive in the different ecosystems in Texas. So we have layers, and I want a layer where my students can add markers, and so I'll just call this ecosystems. And we have tools across here. We have an undo and a redo. We can move around the map with the hand. We can search for different places, typed in here and hit search, and it will take us to those locations. This is going to be the key feature for our students. We want them to be able to add a marker. And so let's click on Add Marker. I'll zoom in a little bit and drop a marker right here. I'll click on Big Bend National Park. Notice it pops up where I can type in a title. I can add text. I'll add something short here. We would want our students to have information here that shows us they're learning the content. I would ask them to create a map that's interactive, that asks questions of other students. And so we might teach them to use question stems from Bloom's to incorporate into their maps. Notice here we have a camera where we can add images or videos. We click and we have to have a URL of those images or videos. So we can use Google image search, but we need to teach our kids about copyright. And so one tool that I like to use is Photos for Class. If you've not used it before, it's a great free website that allows students to look for images that have Creative Commons on them so that they can be used, and it properly attributes those to the photographers. So I've got wildlife at Big Bend here, and if I hit Find Photos, it brings, and they are great images. These are photographers who are willing to let their photos be used in education. And because I need the URL, I'm going to use this javelina right here. I'll right click on him and open the link in a new window. This way I can grab that image URL. And so I will click on that. Notice how it gives an attribution down here at the bottom. Tells us who took the photo, when, where it's located. So that's always important to teach our students. And so I will copy this link and I will go back into our Texas Ecosystems map and paste that link and select. That's all there is to it. I hit save, and now that point on our map has, when I click on that marker, it shows me the image and the information. We can change the color of our marker. We can edit the box. We can add more photos. We can get directions to this particular point. And if we need to get rid of that marker, we can use the delete feature. Students can continue to add markers. If we wanted to drop one over here in East Texas, we could drop a marker and add that information. Notice point 2 comes up on our map. If we save that, it's now listed in our layer. So what can we do with this to allow students to be able to work on this map? That's going to come with the share feature. So if we hit share, just like other Google documents, we have private access only for us. We need to change that. I want anyone with the link. Notice it says can view. I want my students to be able to write on it. So I want to change that to edit and save. I do want to, down here at the bottom, prevent editors from changing access and adding new people. I do not want them to be able to take me off of the map. So I save those changes. Now anyone who has the link can edit, and they cannot take me off of the map. And so I click on this. I share this link with my students. I could do that via Google Classroom. I could put it in a Google Doc and share. However you need to do, whatever you need to do to get that link to your students, that's what they will use. And so let's see what happens when we copy that. And a student puts that into Omnibar, and it takes them straight to the map. And they can see the map with the locations, and they can begin pinning on that map because they will have access. Another thing that you can do, if you see these dots right up here, if we click on those, we can embed on my site. If I click that, oh, I do have to make that public. I apologize for that. If I want to do that, I need to change it to a public on the web map. And then I will be able to embed on my site, and it gives me an embed code. That way, if you wanted to put it on your class blog, we did one where we asked people from around the world to tag and tell us about their schools. And so just another way you could use Google Maps. So Google Maps, they're collaborative, they're embeddable. We can use them for all types of things. And that's what I want you to do this week. You've learned to build a map. You've learned to add points and photos along with text. You've learned to share the map with your students. So before we meet again, I want you to collaborate with the other members of our collaborative and share classroom applications. How could we use this to get our students learning? We want to engage them and get them creating content. I want you to teach your students to use Google Maps and have students build a collaborative map to show mastery of whatever content you're working on in your classroom. Now, before we go, on the thing link that I provided with this information, I want you to go to point B and fill out the Google form when you have some ideas about how we could use maps in the classroom. And then when your students have built a map, I want you to go back to our thing link one more time and post your map on point C. That way when we get back together, we can look at those, we can look at all of our ideas, and in the meantime, we can get ideas from each other. So thank you so much for joining me today, and remember, your kids have genius. Let them own it.